Wired Axcess.
We'll do it live.
Wired Access.
Do it live.
Wired Access.
We'll do it live.
Wired Axcess.
Welcome to Wired Access Podcast, where I'm your host, DJ K-Dub Omaha. This is the home of the plug and play player of the game. Remember to check us out at the football games, volleyball games, softball games, and also put those votes in on Twitter. We appreciate all those who support, subscribe, follow, like, share, and all that fun stuff. Today we have the Prez, as they like to say, of the Omaha Stormchasers and also the Omaha Union, Mr. Martie Cordaro. This is my third time, maybe fourth time interviewing you. I started off at the radio station locally. I got to interview you there. When I first started this show, I don't even know if you know, but 2 years ago when I was with Brian Southworth, we pulled you in and we took a little interview, but that was all vocal and just voice over the phone. And those 15 episodes is what got us here with Hurrdat Sports. We're now on year 2. So it's kind of crazy, but you had a lot of firsts this year. And what I mean by that is first mid-season championship. That's a little different this year. Yeah. Obviously, we want to get your thoughts and ideas on that. You got you're the 179th of the bar room.
Yep.
I'd like to go into a little bit about that, just because I just think people don't understand, like, being a president, there's a lot to it besides just the business side. There's the side of you're the face all the time. Everywhere you go, you have to represent. And I mean, you've been here since 2006. We've already talked about your family before, of how this all got to you and how much the game of baseball means to you. But I think the game of soccer is filling that other void. And I don't mean void in a bad way. I'm just saying, like, there's 2 seasons and you guys are still going with Union Omaha. Stormchasers just finished with their International League Championship last Friday. Yep. And I couldn't even imagine the emotions from going from how hard Wednesday, Thursday, Friday was to turn around to Vegas and play again. And obviously what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. There's nothing wrong with that saying. Martie, welcome to the show, man.
Kendall, it's great to be here. Congrats on your success. It's hard to believe 2 years how much changes, but it also things do remain the same. And we're still playing soccer, we're still playing baseball. It's great to be back in person for the first time.
Yes.
And there was a shift a couple years ago. Your first reference was the first half and second half. Minor league baseball for years has been first half and second half champions, and that determines the playoffs for levels below AAA.
Okay.
And in the last couple of years, Major League Baseball changed that for AAA. So last year, I believe, was the first year that shifted. And we won the first half. It was a great run for the club. Ended up with 89 regular season victories, are breaking the previous record set in 1990. One shy of 90. One shy. We wanted to get to 90 wins. We'll do that next year. And then we played Columbus, who won the second half. Columbus is the Guardians AAA team, and the Columbus Clippers came in hot. I mean, they had won, I don't know, 16 or 17 out of their last 20 games. I mean, they came in really hot at the end of the year, and they won. They won last Tuesday night at Werner Park 3-2. We were down 2 runs with 1 out in the bottom of the 8th inning, and then Nate Eaton hit a 2-run jack to tie it, and that really shifted that series. Ended up winning that in 11 innings. And then the Thursday night winner take all at Werner Park last week was really an electric night, and the team went on. I think it was 7-3. It really wasn't
Putting
that
up 10 runs
close.
Though is good, and especially when you're going that hard the night before. Because normally you come back, but the energy was there. Yeah, the environment was there. It was meant to be. Just talk about even just that aspect, because the last time you guys have won, it's been 10 years, and 10 years, it's not like it hasn't been no winning. It's just getting that final hump. What does it mean to be 10 years removed from your last time you won and getting those feelings back?
It is interesting because 4 teams a year used to make the playoffs in each league. Now it's only 2 teams a year. So it's much more difficult to make the playoffs than it used to at any level, not just AAA, but any level. So that's difficult. But yeah, 2021, we probably had at the end of the year, we probably had the best team in AAA baseball. We missed the playoffs just, I don't know, 2 or 3 games, 3 or 4 games. That was the team that had Nick Pratto, Bobby Witt Jr., MJ Melendez, but at the height of their minor league careers, and some other pretty good pitching as well. And then, Poli had some teams a few years before that, but, this was an interesting year because there were a lot of veterans, meaning players that had been here, but there wasn't that top 10, top 50 prospect, if you will. It was a lot of real balanced play. For example, we had 10 players that had 10 or more homers and 50 or more RBI, 10. And our leading RBI guy, Cam Devaney, was out of the 9 hole this year. So, it was a very balanced team. And really what set this team apart, Kendall, was the bullpen. The bullpen led in whip. It led in ERA. It led in holds, led in all categories except maybe saves. Part of that was because the offense was equally as good. But no, it was a great year. Manager Mike Jerschley had an amazing year. And yeah, it was great to get our first International League championship, which oddly enough, we became the first AAA team to win an American Association championship, which folded after 1997.
In the Pacific.
And then the Pacific Coast League, we won in 11, 13, and 14. And now we win the IL. So we're the first team to win a championship in all 3 AAA leagues. It's pretty cool. Pretty odd fact.
Unique. And that's what I love about it, because it's the energy that you guys also bring, because what people don't understand is there's the fan side, there's a family side, but there's a business side. One, you're not there fully invested as far as making the decisions on the players.
Correct. That's all the Royals.
All the Royals and what they decide. So one, you have to buy into their process, which obviously they've been growing a team. They just won their last pennant not too long ago, which helps the growth of the Royals. What does it mean to know that you're a piece of it, but your control is kind of limited, but you're making the best of what you have?
They allow us to do our job on the business side, as you mentioned. And our job is to obviously make sure the field and the facility and the clubhouse, batting cages, bullpen, all that is an environment and is set up safely that they can come in and get their work done in the stands and promotionally and in the community and giving back. We also want to give them opportunities to do that and then provide an environment in which they want to play. And, last week was example, crowds of a little over 3,000, a little over 3,200, a little over 3,500. But all those crowds last week, they were invested in the game. And that's really what the Royals want. And all we ask for them, provide us great people, provide us some good people that come to Omaha, that come to Sarpy County, Werner Park, to be engaged in the community, Kendall, and be a part of that aspect. And then guys that play hard. And this team this year played hard every single inning, every single pitch.
Well, and I think it goes to show in their postseason as they're starting that this week as well. Yesterday, they started out, Bobby Witt doing big things. And I think when you hear the names that have came through here, whether it is on a relief as far as they're trying to rehab and come back, or whether it's through the homegrown process, what is the best part of just being able to share these players with locals that you're not all Royals fans here. You're not all Stormchasers fans, but sometimes you are a Players fan, especially when they play in the College World Series and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, whether it's College World Series or whether they went to college locally. I mean, even going back to 2015 when Alec Boehm was a high school senior, just finished at Roncalli, and he was in the AAA Home Run Derby, and he actually finished 4th that year. A lot of people don't realize that. That was right before Kendall. He went to Wichita State, and obviously the rest is history as he's in the playoffs with the Phillies. And I saw a stat yesterday as well, day one of the day one of wild card, that like 75% of the Royals offense was homegrown. And you used the word homegrown just a second ago. I think that's key, and I think it's important, and it gives people an opportunity to come see these players. And 75% of our franchise players since 1969 have gone on to play in the big leagues. And the AAA average is about 71%. And I don't know why the Royals have a higher percentage, probably because over the years they have dabbled in free agency less because they're a smaller market. But you're going to see future big leaguers. And a case in point, 22 of this year's Major League All-Stars, 22 played at Werner Park at some point over the last 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 years. So not only are you seeing future big leaguers, you're seeing the future all-stars. So if you haven't been out to Werner Park lately, next year, April 2025 is your chance to rekindle that, supporting of professional baseball.
And what I really like is the atmosphere and the setting. Of course, I'm a South O boy. I'll go Rosenblatt till the day I pass. Cool. But let me tell you, the feeling of out there is baseball and 100% baseball. The view's good from every seat. Even sitting in the outfield, you guys are trying to incorporate a lot of the local other organizations. Like one I went to was the Omaha Beef, because I do a lot of their fan interaction stuff. But Omaha is a championship city, and I think sometimes our locals miss out on that. We have a lot of semi-pro or pro teams that are making strides to show that teams can make it here and move on. You got the Beef, the Supernovas, the Nebraska Pride. You guys. I mean, the list goes. Omaha Stockman. There's so many. How important is it for that community to continue to grow together and support each other in that aspect, especially not just on a business side, but to continue to show that Omaha is where you want to be if you want to play in some of these sports for opportunities?
Look, there's a lot in there. There's a couple questions. There's a lot, but here's how I would tell you we look at it. We feel it's important to recognize the Beef. Back-to-back years, we've hosted the Beef after they won their indoor championship. This year, we hosted the Supernovas after they won their championship. And, we've had when Creighton's women's team made the Final Four 2 years ago, we hosted Coach Flannery and the team out, and so on and so forth. We're always hosting high school champions. So I think it's important for different organizations to celebrate the different organizations and not be competitive in nature, if you will. We are competitive off the court and off the field and off the pitch because we are selling tickets and sponsorships. And we're all trying to go for, those sponsor dollars, if you will. However, there's no reason that we can't lift each other up and help market each other and celebrate the good things that are happening, because there are a lot of good things, not to go down every single team. But, I've been here 18 years now, and I'm fortunate to be a part of it. And, 18 years of AAA baseball and now 5 years with Union Omaha, it's an exciting time right now.
Well, speaking of that, of course, a lot of people might have asked or put the question out there, new ownership. How does that change who the prez is and what's the next step? Or is that something even available to be known for everybody?
No, I know I can answer that. Last week,
and timing's weird because you're like,
there's a lot going on, on Monday, which I believe is the 23rd. We told the staff, we told our naming rights partner, Werner, and we told our landlord, Sarpy County. And then on the 24th, Tuesday, we announced to the public that Diamond Baseball Holdings would be acquiring the Omaha Stormchasers baseball franchise, not soccer, but baseball. We're their 36th acquisition. DBH was formed in 2021. As I said, we're the 36th club, so it's not new to them in acquiring clubs, and they have a cap in how many they can acquire within minor league baseball. But they're trying to build the most dynamic minor league baseball ownership organization ever. I think they're already there. In the past, there were organizations that had 9, 10, or 11 clubs, but not in the 30s. And they're going to continue to go. For us as an organization, those that are asking, the staff doesn't change. I'm there. Lori Schlender's there. The rest of the staff is still there, and there won't be any changes for the combined staff that also runs Union Omaha, at least through next season, meaning 2025. So we're here, we're safe and sound. And why am I confident in that? DBH hasn't made any other staff or leadership changes in any of the other 35 markets. What they're looking for, Kendall, is pretty simple. They're looking for underrated markets, or markets that still have growth potential. They look at Omaha as a growth, very stable market. And, we're talking about all the sports franchises earlier. That's a check. They're looking for leadership that's been in place for a number of years.
Check.
18 years, and not just myself, but Lori Schlender and others have been there for a while. Check. And then the third, they're looking for ballparks and communities in which they can make a difference. And at this level, at the AAA level, this is one that they can. And so I'm excited about that. Gary Green's been great for the community. He's been great personally. He's been great for the organization. But a couple of years ago, his attention really shifted and drifted, if you will, from baseball. And it's something he said. So it's not a secret that over the last 2 years, the focus has primarily been on soccer, which I assume we'll cover here in a minute. But now this gives those baseball fans in the community, it gives the Kansas City Royals, it gives the season ticket holders of the Stormchasers, Sarpy County, as a landlord, it gives our staff added support or renewed interest, renewed support for the franchise. And if you can't tell that I am excited, I am. I'm really excited about it. And I know about 24 of the president operators, president GMs at the other DBH clubs. And that's also good because I know what the pitfalls are or are not. But I've also heard the positives from the standpoint of, the background. The COO for DBH was the CEO at Topgolf, and she just recently came over. The number 2 person that ran tickets for Live Nation, he's been with DBH for about a year. Okay. The person that runs all the revenue for DBH ran all revenue for IMG Learfield for all of their major college properties. So they're building a team at corporate that has done it in a major way. And I'm quite frankly looking forward to learning some new tricks as soon as I can.
What do you think is the biggest gain for the local area for a change in an owner? And then also, how much does the MLB Kansas City Royals have with this decision and their thoughts?
Yeah, Royals they have no say in it.
Okay.
We're tied. The current PDL player development license setup, Kendall, was a 10-year agreement started in 21.
Okay.
So we're in the 4th year of a 10-year deal. So there's 6 years left. They're tied. But let's face it, the Royals have been here since 1969. It's the 3rd longest affiliation over all 120, and it's the single longest overall 30 AAA. So I would say the biggest is the fact that it's kind of 1A, 1B. You could say that the leadership team is in place with new support. Or you could say that DBH is bringing new ideas to share and support the leadership team. I think they're chicken and egg, but no, there's a lot of excitement, a lot of optimism, and 24, 25, 26, the next 3 years, they're going to be fun at Werner.
Since Saturday, what relaxation has Marty been able to do in this whole deal and get back to, because it's not over.
Yeah.
You got Royals are still going. Union Omaha is still going. It doesn't end just because your season ended.
No, I have a 24/7, 365 job. I still have people ask me, well, now that baseball's over, do you move back to Arizona or Kansas City or wherever you're from? I'm from Omaha. I moved here in August of 06. I started work in September of 06. It's been exactly 18 years. Well, I guess not. Now it's October, and in the month of September it was. But, it never stops, and there's a lot happening. We're finishing up the Stormchaser season. Yes, playoff baseball for the Royals. We're talking today, and, we're about to have a noon kickoff today on October 2nd for Union Omaha day game, our first kids day game ever. And playoffs soon to come there because we're first place again, as we pretty much have been 4 out of 5 years since we started the franchise. And, oh, by the way, we're still focused on the downtown stadium development project for Union Omaha. So a lot of hats, a lot of good things, but, it's great to get out and talk to people like you and share what's happening.
You're spreading the love of the Union Omaha and the Stormchasers where Warner's going to be for baseball. Union Omaha's getting their own. That distance between there, what's going to be probably the hardest thing to be able to control between the two?
Great question. First off, we're going to have independent ownership. So we'll see how that plays out long-term, for me and for the staff on sharing of staffs. But, I don't know that there's really an issue because new projects bring new opportunities. And, I'm up for opportunities, anytime we have a chance to grow and learn, things. One thing is constant, and that's change. Nothing ever stays the same.
You've seen a lot. You've seen football come through, the Nighthawks. You went through that organization. You've seen this stuff around you.
You have had AHL hockey with the Knights right when I got here. You had the Nighthawks. You had the Mammoths. You've had a couple of different iterations of indoor basketball. You had the Vipers indoor soccer. We'll see what happens with 2 pro women's volleyball teams. I mean, it's a great volleyball state and city, but 2 that are competing against each other in the same city. I hope they both make it. I do. So yeah, we've seen a lot come and go, but Gary's he's committed. He's committed to Union Omaha Soccer, and then we're also committed to bringing a new women's team as well. So it's a daunting task, daunting project, but nothing good ever came easy. So we're excited about that.
Having to not change the stadium for a soccer game, is that going to be a good thing, or what do you think the next possibility coming in would be?
Well, I don't have to hear about it anymore. I don't have to talk about it. I don't have to write big checks for it anymore. And, I would tell you the men and women that actually do the changeover, and whether it's our grounds crew, whether it's our ops crew, whether it's our stadium ballpark ops and client services crew, they're the men and women that really deserve all the credit, because they're the ones that flip back and forth. And, we've done it for 4 out of the 5 years. The first year was COVID. So in 2020, we didn't have baseball, but 21, 22, 23, 24, and soon to be a schedule for 25, for 5 years for sure, they've had to do that. And I can't help but think it's going to allow us the opportunity to do more high school baseball events, more youth baseball events. We've really wanted to dabble in softball a little bit now that we have the retractable pitcher's mound. So we're going to be looking to get back to more of the special events that we did prior to 2020, and that's not a bad thing. It's not it's not criticizing soccer. It is what it is, because without the pro AAA baseball stadium, without the minor league stadium, without our partnership with Sarpy County, pro soccer wouldn't have started here. And we need to give credit where credit's due. And that's to the Stormchasers, and that's to Sarpy County for soccer being able to start here. And of course, Gary Green for investing in it, but we had to have a place and a partner to be able to start that.
Well, I like that you brought up some of the things that you're looking to go back to. I only say this because my son got the grant back in 2020 to play at Werner Park, which I could tell you, for those kids, like, in the moment you ask them, they don't say it. But when they reflect back on what they really got to do that year, because he was a part of the Stormchasers, and you guys allowed for 2020, 2021, I think it was, some of those. How important, or what do you think that connection can grow to with this new, because obviously it's local, Papillion Stormchasers. Is it where there's a development growth together? Obviously it's not a feeder team. You guys are AAA. But some people are still connecting Stormchasers and Stormchasers.
It's all part of the branding. I mean, it is. It's part of the branding. And, yes, the ballpark is in Sarpy County. They're our landlord, but we're in Papillion's jurisdiction. And obviously you have Gretna and Springfield and Bellevue and La Vista and, all the surrounding communities as well that are important. But, we've long had a relationship with the Papillion Select Little League, and, they changed their name, I don't know, 12, 13 years ago to the Papillion Stormchasers Select, or Papillion Select Stormchasers, exactly what it is, Kendall, you could tell me. But, it is important. And it's, when I was just in Vegas, and there was a couple individuals that were from Vegas that were at the game, and they had Stormchaser hats on, and their little league team in Vegas is Stormchasers. So it's not just a local Papillion or Sarpy County or Omaha Metro thing. Minor league baseball is national.
When you think of everything that has came in this past since COVID, what do you think has been the biggest growth for you guys? And what do you think has been the biggest struggle?
Well, our biggest growth is new staff. Unfortunately, we, like most sports teams and a lot of businesses, we laid off 85% of our staff. And then when we didn't get our schedule in October of 2020, as we were supposed to, we weren't able to bring back our sales team because we had no schedule. So we didn't get our schedule till February. So by and large, our sales staff was virtually new in 21. Few changes going into 22. However, since then, there's been a lot of continuity. And I think that's been the biggest success, is new ideas, new blood, new people. And yes, we miss the Andrea Bedores and a lot of other people that, were with us for a long time. But that's probably been the best thing, is we've got a new, energized, committed staff. Biggest challenge is people got out of habit in coming to minor league baseball games. And, we see people, instead of coming 3 or 4 times, we see them come 2 or 3 times. We've had season ticket holders that have gone from season tickets, full seasons to halves. But we've seen an uptick in sponsors. We've seen an uptick in group sales. So, it's virtually the same crowd. It's just a different makeup and mix. And for us, we need to continue to sell ticket packages and voucher books and really grow those 1 and 2s and 2s and 3s into 5 and 6 time goers. That's probably our biggest challenge right now.
When you look at what the Union Omaha has brought to Werner Park this past 5 years, what do you think is some of the best things? Obviously, getting a different style of people that are there. And I mean,
it is different.
Soccer, that's what they're there for, but they adapt to the environment that they're seeing. They're seeing it's at a baseball field. They're seeing it's different. And they're accepting it, and they're really getting into it. I mean, I've seen a lot of the Union fans, and they're not backing down from whatever field they're at.
No. Look, it is a baseball stadium, baseball park, if you will. There are some really great sight lines. There's some really crappy sight lines. It is what it is. In baseball, you mentioned, there's no bad seat. There's about 10 or 11 bad seats. And when you come out next, I'll show you where not to sit. Section 101, the first 2 rows. But anyway, especially when you're my height. But for soccer, it is different. And the environment, we've done the best we can, but it's not perfect. We have some seats that are really close and seats that are far away. But, what Union has probably brought most to Werner is, people that had never gone to baseball games. The crossover is less than 10%. So there are a lot of new faces. And some of them have come back for baseball. Some of them have come back for charitable events and things like that. But for the most part, Union Omaha's brought a lot more winning to the facility. I mean, it's championship expectations every year, whether it was Coach Jay Mims or whether now it's Coach Dominic Casciato. The expectation is we're going to win. We're going to win on the pitch. And right now we're in first. If we can get 3 points today against Spokane, that will be another opportunity to move closer to the 1 seed, which will give us home field throughout the playoffs again, which will be the 3rd time in 5 years. And that's no small feat, especially when we're an expansion franchise, not a relocated franchise that had players. We didn't have any players. Coach Mims went out, recruited them. Then COVID happened and they didn't really play together much. Training was odd in 2020. So we got off kind of to a weird, clunky start. And, it's been something to really admire. I'm not a soccer guy. I'm learning soccer. I don't understand the real sport, the technical aspects on the sporting side, but I've learned a little bit, enough to be dangerous, Kendall. And, what both coaches have accomplished is nothing short of amazing in the 5 years.
See, and what I like is, that I've learned from soccer is just the fact to respect the sport, as far as just because it says 1 or 2 doesn't mean it was any less than 7 points or a 3-0 in a baseball score. Like, the number of the point doesn't matter. It's how they get there. And I think what you've seen in the growth of soccer, is it something that is possibly because of this winning, there's future opportunities? Because obviously you guys have went to the MLS and played those teams. I think you guys won 4 straight there when you guys were in the Cup,
U.S. Open Cup,
the Lomas Cup.
Yep.
And you see like that success. Does it feel like this stadium and with the winning could possibly help this team expand further?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, our goal, and Gary talks about it publicly, so it's no secret, but our goal is to move up to the USL Championship. That's basically the AAA, if you will, equivalent of the soccer pyramid in America, with MLS being, the top enchilada USL Championship, and then we're currently USL League One, which is similar to AA baseball, minor league baseball, if you will. So yeah, the winning helps. And does it sell tickets? Yeah, it sells a few tickets, but ultimately it's about getting fans to come and experience something new at Werner Park. They just happen to see more victories than most other USL League One franchises.
Well, and just thinking of the sports that have tried or do try to continue to come back here, what makes soccer to be successful here?
Probably diehards. if you're a soccer fan, you probably have, wouldn't say no interest, but you have little interest in other sports. If you're a baseball fan, you're probably a football fan, basketball fan. If you're a basketball fan, probably the reverse. You're a baseball, football, hockey maybe is a little bit more, dedicated, hardcore, kind of like soccer, but the soccer fan is really dedicated and they're into soccer. And, whether they're watching MLS, whether they're watching USL, whether they're watching Premier League, so on and so forth. And, you mentioned the US Open Cup. There are so many cup competitions, whether it's the Copa Americas, whether it's USL. This year, we just completed our first Intercup with the Jägermeister in-season cup. There are all these tournaments, again, things that I need to learn that really break up a season. So to be a soccer fan, you have to know a lot and you have to really be into it. And I think that's part of what makes soccer unique and makes it special is you're a soccer fan, you're a soccer fan.
I like that you brought that up because obviously, so I own a lawn company and a couple of my guys, that's their sport, soccer. I actually got one to try out for the CB Captains across the way who's trying to bring their team up in the USPL.
Yep.
And just learning about the Euro League, why is it so important for those teams to where if you're not up to snuff, they will replace you? But in the United States, we don't have any league that will do that.
Oh, you're talking about promotion relegation? Yeah, promotion relegation was talked about pretty extensively in USL, not MLS. MLS has very little to no interest in that. But it's being talked about pretty extensively within USL. I would say during the 23 year, much more extensively than 24. However, the conversation is there. There is a plan for promotion relegation for USL League One and Championship at some point in the future, but I can't tell you that it's 24. I can tell you it's not 24, but I can't tell you if it's 25, 26, 27. I don't know when that would be, Kendall, but I as an American sports operator / owner, it's hard for me to see why someone who has spent $500 million on an expansion franchise and invested X million dollars into a $1 billion stadium at the MLS level would entertain any conversations to someone who's invested some millions into a soccer stadium and maybe $2 or $3 million into an expansion franchise fee and maybe $10 million to get it off the ground at a USL. Forget that it's League One or Championship. It's different. And when you talk about the soccer history being hundreds of years old, decades in some cases, but hundreds in a lot of cases in the European leagues, it's not that I don't see a path to promotion relegation in USL, but I don't see it throughout the soccer pyramid just from the sheer Grand Canyon of dollars invested by owners at the different levels. So,
and I think that's what we
miss
a lot
of money.
Fans, we miss like what the final dollar is. Like
That's
you
correct.
Hear dollars, but you don't know what the investment of the stadium, the whole area of the stadium, the land, and especially as you move up more land. You have Union Omaha getting downtown. How important is that for them to get their own space into the growth of their future?
Well, it's critical. I mean, you asked earlier about moving up a league. That would help us move up to championship with a new facility, soccer specific. Yes, it allows us to start a women's program, allows us to start a youth academy, allows us to go into a part of town that doesn't really have a building that's affordable, if you will, for special events. If you think about what we do at Werner Park, around 200 special events outside of baseball and soccer each year. Those events are very affordable for Susan G. Komen, ALS Association, Heart Association, United Way. I could go down the list. I mean, there's dozens of them, this will be an opportunity to also do that in the east northeast part of the community, and then from a soccer perspective, well, we won't be in a baseball stadium. There will be an actual soccer pitch. The field will be a little larger dimensions, not not vastly larger, but a little bit larger dimensions. And it will be designed for soccer viewing. So from a fan perspective, you won't have to say, oh, well, if I sit here for baseball, it's great, but if I sit here for soccer, it stinks. You're able to pick out your seats based on a soccer facility. And I think it brings a new energy to the downtown area. We're focused on 15 to 35-year-olds, not necessarily. It's not necessarily true that we're not focused on other demographics, but soccer fan is normally younger, normally more multicultural. And again, we talked about earlier, they're focused on soccer. So this will give us an opportunity in the proper part of the community, proper part of town, but it also creates a triangle. So now you've got soccer facility, baseball facility, arena. It continues to build the sports campus, if you will, of the Omaha area, Omaha metro area. It really expands that hub. And, I said it back on January 25th at the press conference we had with Mayor Stothert. It also is the first and last thing you see coming into the community. So we're really hell-bent on designing something that's special, that's aesthetically pleasing outside of the venue, even if you're not coming inside. And then the larger campus there, having it be something that the community is proud of when you're going to Eppley to fly out, or you're flying, coming in from Eppley.
Well, and of course, with the Royals, you guys are connected with the Stormchasers. Is that something that is available between MLS and a soccer club like Union Omaha? Is that something that is even that they look for, is now that you can get everything based in one thing, you're moving up a level? How does that go with the AAA and that tier for when it comes to soccer?
Yeah, for soccer. It's a little convoluted, but I'll give you the quickest, shortest answer I can. When we first started soccer, we were focused on being the affiliate for Sporting KC. Sporting was interested. They ended up deciding they didn't want their players traveling to and from, because they would have been training in Kansas City and playing games in Omaha. And when it comes down to it, we want the players to live here and be a part of the community, and whether it's youth clinics or community appearances, as we talked about earlier with the Stormchasers. So that really wasn't going to work. But at that time, USL and MLS had a working relationship. That no longer exists. MLS a couple of years ago started MLS Next Pro.
Gotcha.
So it's basically MLS 2. And they have their own feeder teams, if you will, but they're focused on development. They're not focused on business, Kendall. So you'll go to some of those games and you'll see, when I say 50, 100, 200 fans, literally 50, 100, 200 fans at those matches. So they're not really focused on the business side. So the lower level business operators are USL League One, USL even League Two, which is men's summer, college summer soccer. Yeah. And they've got a W League they started a few years ago, and now Super League, which is pro league for women.
When you look across the sporting platform, you see this stuff, and obviously this is before they get to AAA. But like you said, you had Alex Baum that played for you guys before he got to Wichita State.
Home run derby. He didn't play for Stormchasers.
Home run derby in the house. That's right.
Derby, yes.
But you see these athletes being able to see that their journey, and obviously you have a baseball background, but how important is it for journeys of whether it's a JUCO route athlete gets out, whether it is a player who is a Division III gets to your organization or gets to the Royals and then comes. How important are those stories to the end game of showing people to understand how important it is to just grow where you're at?
Look, I think the stories are important, and I'll say this, and if you're watching at home, if you can play, they'll find you. So whether it's JUCO, whether it's high school, whether it's D2, D3, whether it's D1, whether it's playing through college, not getting an offer for affiliated pro baseball and having to go play in the independent route. If you can play, you'll be found. It doesn't matter what sport. Look at all the NFL players. It's like, well, this guy was at Augustana College and now he's returning punts for XYZ team. I mean, it happens. It absolutely happens. Gerard Dyson, famous Royals player, and it won't happen anymore because there's only 20 rounds of the draft, but he was the 50th round draft pick, out of Macomb, Mississippi, and, changed the trajectory of his family for decades. He had an opportunity and, boy, he capitalized on it. So I would say, I think nowadays the media landscape has changed so much. I mean, this wouldn't have happened 5 years ago, 10 years ago, us sitting down talking. And I think that whether it's new media or whether it's traditional media, I think the personal stories can be told a little better. I think there are more stories, but on the media side, there aren't as many reporters as there used to be. And, it's a different world on the media side. So I'm not being critical of it, but I do think there are a lot of untold stories that are out there. And as I said, if you can play, they'll find you.
We'll get you out of here on this because I know you're a super busy guy. We appreciate your time. Through all the things that you do currently, what people will say you just work all the time, and I get it all the time myself. Lawn company, DJ, dispatch live flight, run a podcast, go cover high school sports.
Yep.
That's what I do. It is what it is. None of it's work to me. What is your favorite thing that you get to do, and what does it mean to be able to do all the things that you get to do?
Well, yeah, look, it is work. We have to make a living. We have to feed our families, right? I mean,
Yes,
we have to provide. But I don't speak as much as I used to youth and high school and college students. But I always tell them, if you find something that you're passionate about, you aren't working. It's not a job. It's a career. Or if you're even really fortunate, it's not a career, it's a passion. And that passion for me has been minor league baseball. The passion for supporting and bettering and increasing, the notoriety of the Omaha metro area has also been a passion of mine, even though I'm a transplant. And that shows through the union. I almost said UNO myself.
It's just so easy.
That's your fault. That's your fault.
I'll take it.
And that really, I hope, has shown on the Union Omaha side, because I don't know soccer. I know it now enough to be dangerous, but I didn't know soccer 5, 6, 7 years ago. And so for me, it's really, this community is important. And, I tell you, and you mentioned it earlier, recently being the 179th face on the floor for the Omaha Press Club, I go so fast and I go so hard. And I did answer in May when they said, we'd like for you to be, the 179th face. And I said, what, did you run out of other people? was my response. And I said it somewhat serious. And I say that because, I look at what I do as it's an opportunity for me to do what I do. And I'm fortunate for that. I don't look at it as a right. And to have been honored and to reflect on that and all of the things that I have been fortunate to be a part of, all the nonprofit organizations and community events. And yes, Stormchasers and Union Omaha, don't get me wrong, but it's really the people that I've had a chance to meet, like yourself, whether it's in the media or out of the media, and just people in the community. And I was just reminded a couple of weeks ago when we took a check to a guy and his family, and not to say his name, but in Elkhorn, and they're still recovering from the tornadoes back at the end of April. And, the small amount that we donated in our eyes was a huge amount for them. And that one moment, and there were a couple of players that were there and some of our staff was there, but that moment on Friday the 13th, if you will, that was the day September 13th, that kind of crystallized really the opportunities that I've had and my family's had here, and to be able to continue to give back and to be able to do what I do, that's probably what's most important to me, honestly.
Well, and I'm glad that you brought that back up. What does that mean, the bar room 179th? What all is that entail? And
well, if you first off, if you've never been, if there's someone that or someone that you admire if you have a chance to go, it's $100. It is a fundraiser for media as well as for the press club, but it's the Omaha's Hall of Fame, and I'm a little uncomfortable talking about it. And you see Tom Osborne's name up there, you see Trev Albert's name up there, and the face, and through the band 311 and Johnny Carson and Warren Buffett and now my name. How weird. It's just strange. And so many people who have shaped this community. Most are from here. Some were transplants like myself. And it's newsmakers, all that. But ultimately, everybody in that room, as I walked around on that night, I think it was the 19th of September, it reminded me of they're all community impacting. And we all, though, have an opportunity to impact the community. You don't have to strive to be the face on the barroom floor or to do interviews or to, be written about in the World Herald. Just, are you holding a door for someone today? Or are you saying hi to someone? Because you never know what someone else is going through. And I don't know. That's just kind of how I try to teach my kids, and that's how our staff tries to operate. And I'm not perfect by any stretch of the imagination at all. And yes, I work too much. But for me, the face on the barroom floor was just an opportunity really to say thanks to all the people that came that night, and supporters. Thanks for supporting me for 18 years. And even though it started out the other way around, I ended up being the one that was like, I'm thankful for this opportunity. And it's pretty cool. So, but it's uncomfortable. And, if you want to go step on my face until the next, and until they do the 180th, it literally is a caricature in the floor, and you actually literally walk on it. And then when they do the next one, they take yours up, put it on the wall, and they put the next person in. So it literally is face on the ballroom floor. It doesn't mean that I passed out drunk on the floor.
Well, I like what you said about passing down the kids and community, because, my daughter, she had an instance where she's a waitress, and she just saw this group of girls, and she's like, I got this feeling I got to talk to them. Like, she could just feel something. She's like, I got to talk to them. I got to just ask them how they're doing. And it kind of goes back to exactly what she said. And this is, the girl was outside. You could see, she saw her crying in her car, and she was like, is everything okay? I just felt something. And she's like, my mom's, like, all this stuff came out. And my daughter was just like, in that moment, she never met this girl, never knew what difference a simple anything I could do to help you.
Yeah.
And she ended up making she doesn't do a lot of TikTok stuff, but she made a TikTok just kind of explaining her experience through that part. Then a girl comes through her drive-thru at Scooters, because she's a workaholic like dad. And like, this girl, it hit her. She's like, I've been looking for someone I could talk to, and I've saw your thing. And it's like, one person could totally swap that life around for them to make them get out of that moment just to have a smile on their face. So I appreciate you.
No, you're right.
Stressing that.
But when you ask somebody how they're doing, you got to be prepared to talk to them.
You do.
You can't just ask how they're doing and
keep walking
and keep on moving, because 90% of the time they're going to say, hi, I'm fine, good day, whatever. Yeah. But 5 to 10% of the time, there's an opportunity they may unload, and you have to be willing to do that. And that's where the true test comes.
When you think of your face on the ballroom floor and the impact of a community, everything that you've talked about today has went back to community. Did you ever see that this was going to be your name up there? No, this was
no, not at all. I mean,
not just the city, no, but it's across the state known that you're now there.
Well, I appreciate that. My wife and Sarah and I, we thought we'd be here 4 to 6 years, because we had moved from Tennessee to Alabama to Michigan, Michigan to Nebraska. And, the first 3 stops were 8 years total. So we never, in our wildest imagination, thought we would be here 18 years, and our kids have all grown up, and now our youngest is a junior in high school. So definitely, no, I never would have thought I would be included in, with an honor like that. And again, still a little uncomfortable, and it's awesome though. And if you have a chance to do it, go check it out and support the press club.
Well, once again, like we stressed at the very beginning, these local teams that are bringing championships back to Omaha, take your support and they love your support, whether it's a sponsor, whether it's coming to a game, whether it's just even sharing the social media. So someone on your social media goes, we got a local team doing big things. Check them out, the Omaha Stormchasers. We greatly appreciate Martie and all the stuff that they're doing, not just with Stormchasers, but with soccer. They're bringing it to Omaha. They're making the city a destination to play because it's an opportunity at the next level to get that championship. Once again, Wired Access Podcast. We'll catch you next time.